What's up everyone, welcome back to another video. And yes, got a little haircut here, but let's move on from that. I know people are like, let's cut Walrus. Thank you very much to those people, but let's talk about Fu Xuan. A lot of people have been asking me, just blowing up my DMs, being like, Walrus, what do you think of this? What do you think of that? All right, I can't show them here in this video, but I will explain it to you guys. If you guys want more concrete details, you can always check out my live stream, which I'm okay to dive more into them. But let's talk about Fu Xuan. What does she do? So here's the thing. I've been told that this character is like all over the place, right? So Fu Xuan, in essence, of course, she's a preservation unit. She is a defensive unit, but at the same time, she has aspects to her kit that also falls in line with a harmony unit, also falls in line with an abundance unit, and to a certain degree, would you guys even say, like, what is that called, like erudition, destruction? Like, she does some damage with her ultimate as well. So this character is all over the place, right? That's what is she? At the end of the day, for people who play Genshin Impact, she's like Dia, but on crack. She's like Dia if she were actually a good character. Right, so yes, my thoughts about Fu Xuan after looking at her kit is she's incredibly strong. However, right now the thing is, can Fu Xuan self-sustain, let's say, a team all the way through MOC to the 10th floor or chamber or whatever the MOC is called? Because that's going to be the critical factor between whether or not Fu Xuan is going to be worthwhile to replace or to pull as an alternative. Currently, her first Eidolon, again, can't show you guys, but I'll tell you guys, is insane. Her first Eidolon is absolutely cracked because it builds right into her harmony role, meaning her buffing role. Right now, she buffs your crit rate, right? She buffs your crit rate and a little bit of your max HP. However, that in of itself, it's good to have, but it's kind of like a side thing. It's not you're pulling her for that buff. However, once you get her Eidolon 1, an additional 30% crit damage, 12% crit rate, 30% crit damage, plus 6% max HP. All of a sudden that feels very, very substantial. Those kind of stat lines, like, you'd be hard pressed to even farm that onto an artifact, let alone built into a character that can do it for your entire team essentially. On top of that, she does heal your team, and also she takes damage instead of your team, reduces your whole team's damage taken on the end. Of course, she self heals as well. She can self regenerate throughout the fight. So she is a sustainer, a damage reductionist. Also, she can buff your team, and her ultimate does AoE damage. Quantum unit, which also people have been wanting to put into the mono quantum team. How does a character like Jeopard compared to someone like Fu Xuan? So here's the thing. I've been told and also shown that Fu Xuan is capable of self-sustaining at E0S1. Now the big question mark that I have to pose for all of you watching this, whoever wants to pull Fu Xuan, is, can she do that as a E0 free-to-play? Because let's be honest, most free-to-plays, right, or low spenders, especially with the current rosters of characters, this Kafka coming up next, which I'm sure people are losing their minds for. And then after that, it's Fu Xuan and the 5-star Danheng, right? So all of these characters, people just absolutely want. How much resource can people actually spare to pull their weapon or light cone, right? So if a 5-star right now at E0 free-to-play weapon cannot perform well enough, is the 5-star really a worthwhile investment for low spenders and free-to-play? That's the biggest question mark for Fu Xuan, because E1 aside, that E1 is incredible in my opinion. I think that E1 is one of the higher value E1, just raw stat wise. It's incredible. However, you're not gonna like not clear content without 30% crit damage, right? So we can leave that aside. E1 is very easy to give up in this scenario. What about her weapon? Because there are certain things that characters are just built to do without certain assistance. A good example is Silverwolf's 2-turn 1 ult cycle is only realistically possible if you pull for her E1. That is a limitation to this character's playstyle. And of course, in Honkai Star Rail, the turns are going to be very important. When it comes to Fu Xuan, the turn is not so much of the problem. It is that how much sustain can she put out without her light cone? Because there has also been rumors in that Fu Xuan at times could fail to keep your team alive unless you have another abundance character. Now, if you're fighting easier content, let's say lower floors of MOC, that shouldn't be an issue. Like, she could sustain through no problem even with a free-to-play weapon. But why are we pulling for characters if we're just going to evaluate them at MOC 3, MOC 4? If it's not for MOC 10, then these characters really aren't being pushed to their limits. How consistent is Fu Xuan going to be at MOC 10 sustaining at E0 with a free-to-play weapon? In my opinion, if she cannot sustain your team like Jeopard does with a free-to-play weapon at E0 free-to-play weapon, then she loses a lot of pull value. It's unfortunate to say that, well, the request for a character that is a limited character also needing their limited light cone to function as like a standard banner character like Jeopard. I don't know how you guys would think of it when I say it like this. Is I don't think that's a good value character when we already have Jeopard who can self-sustain an entire team through shielding. Like, his mechanic is so easy. There's no buffing, there's no any of that extra stuff. Now you guys might say, but Fu Xuan just does so much more. Well, the thing is, Jeopard is more of a CC unit. He freezes enemies, right? So delays their turn, in turn which helps you clear content a little bit easier. Of course, he also has self-taunt, which means Fu Xuan spreads the damage and brings it to herself, whereas Jeopard just have the enemies attack him. Now, of course, there's additional play mechanic with Jeopard and how you position him to have other characters benefit from him being attacked. Let's say with AoE, place another character next to him to get a little more particles, whatever. But Fu Xuan's playstyle is different. At the same time, can we really say that she is worthy of a limited character? Can we really say that she's worthy of the limited character title if she cannot even self-sustain an entire team the way Jeopard does? Now, I do know she does more, but why would you need healing in her kit if you have to bring a separate healer, right? That's my question. If you're going to design this character to be this almighty unit, then you should have her fulfill the bare minimum just by herself. But ultimately, that is a decision for you guys to make. If you guys think Fu Xuan, even if she falls short just a little bit and you're okay to maybe wait for her rerun to pull her light cone, or you're going to fully commit and pull her light cone just so you can make sure she can self-sustain your entire team, amazing. I think she is easily an S tier character. I think she is along the same lines as Silverwolf, to be completely honest with you guys. Now, I'm not saying that in the sense that she's irreplaceable. It's just that the sheer amount of things she brings to your team with her kit is going to be invaluable. I've mentioned this in Genshin Impact, is that eventually the game will have to get to a point where they need to consolidate roles, meaning they need to give more utility features to a single unit, which makes it group a bunch of roles into one. I never expected Honkai Star Rail to do this so quickly, but I think it's also because they realized the pacing issue with Genshin Impact and their character development and whatnot, that now they're accelerating the rate at which characters can do more things in Honkai Star Rail. Fu Xuan is quite the superb character. I'll say it myself. Like, if you have Fu Xuan on your team, especially if you can get her to E1, S1, so Eidolon 1 with her signature light cone, you can basically replace a ton of potential units on your team. She herself is like your harmony character, your abundance character, your preservation character, and she does a decent chunk of damage as well. Pairing her with Silverwolf, right, as a double quantum flex into most teams is going to be helping you deal with so much of the contents in the game. But at the same time, if you can't invest that steep into this character, I do think there are better options out there for you guys, especially for those who have skipped a lot of DPS units or for those who are still building up their account. If you guys want to know a character that you absolutely should save and invest into, currently right now the top priority is Silverwolf. Waiting for Silverwolf's rerun is going to be a lot of people's top priority while also building up their account. So making sure you always have enough so that if Silverwolf ever gets announced to make a rerun, you don't suddenly start scrambling to get gems. So I would say make sure have around roughly 10,000 gems saved. I know it sounds like a lot, but 10,000 gems saved so that if Silverwolf does make an announcement to come back, let's say next patch or the patch after that, you have enough time to save up for like an entire patch or maybe 2 patches to basically guarantee Silverwolf. Because let's say if you're running on 0 or 100 gems and Silverwolf gets announced to come back next patch, what are you gonna do? You're at 0 right now. Can you guarantee her by next patch, right? That's the difference here. And when it comes to other characters that have value, Seele is still super strong, but how well she's going to fare going like 3, 6, 1 year down the line, we don't know. DPS characters are very tricky. I always say this for Genshin and for Honkai Star Rail. If you guys are ever unsure of what kind of DPS you want to play or what you want to play as a DPS, the 4-star characters are incredible alternative DPS options. You can run them for now and heavily invest into the supports. Make sure your supports are all set in place, and whatever DPS you slot into that main DPS role, you're going to be able to absolutely demolish content because your supports are all in place. Really, the supports are the ones that makes your DPS shine. You can take amazing S tier supports and make even a B tier DPS feel like an S tier DPS. But that's all I gotta say for this video. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Till then, I urge you to stay safe. Peace. Bye bye.